You might know that a Harmon vacation would include some train watching, but I actually convinced Liz to go on an all-train watching road trip. We made a beeline from Tampa to Charleston on Sunday, stopping for lunch in Hardeeville, South Carolina, where we saw nothing but track. In Charleston, we visited the Amtrak station but saw no trains. We took a bus tour through Old Charleston the next day, which was great. Moving northward, we stopped for the night in Florence, South Carolina. Like many towns, Florence has a caboose on display, and this curiosity. Following World War II, the Seaboard Airline Railroad produced these bronze plaques, honoring employees who had given their lives during the war. There's also one of these in the lobby of Tampa Union Station. Florence is a small CSX yard and Amtrak's midline crew base for Autotrain. Liz and I drove out to the station at 11:30 Monday night to watch the crew change. Actually, Liz stayed in the car and read her book while I watched the crew change. Delivery trucks take positions as the train glides to a stop. Well, this septic tank truck isn't delivering, he's making a pickup. Trash from the evening's 3 dinner seatings and the wine tasting is taken off the dining and lounge cars. Fuel trucks top off the locomotives for the southern half of the trip. New engineers and conductors come aboard, but the onboard staff work all the way through. 2.5 days on, 2.5 days off. In about 20 minutes, the fueling, offloading, and recrewing is done, and Amtrak 53 is off toward Charleston, Hardeeville, Folkestone, and Green Cove Springs, with the next stop, Sanford. Next morning, we were back on I-95 northward. Now, you can't travel this territory and not stop at south of the border. It's the tackiest, gaudiest, most ridiculous, and largest tourist trap anywhere. It's awesome. I wish we had it in Florida. On a whim, I off-ramped at Selma, North Carolina. Remembering this place from articles in Lines South and on C-Rails, I got very lucky. Only a few minutes after we parked at the train station, here came a northbound CSX manifest freight on the A-line, Q40 something. The engineer was either mumbling or wasn't picking up the radio handset. I couldn't make out his train ID. When 40-something cleared, here was the surprise. Emerging from NS's Selma Yard came a coal train led by one of Norfolk Southern's heritage locomotives, the 8104 Lehigh Valley. Afterward, we hung around for a CSX local that was waiting for the NS coal train to cross. We resumed our course northward on I-95 until Rocky Mount, North Carolina, a place I'd heard about since joining the Atlantic Coastline and Seaboard Airline Railroad's Historical Society 15 years ago. I expected Rocky Mount to be something on the order of Selma, or maybe even a little smaller. Instead, Rocky Mount is a massive old coastline depot, different from anything else on the line. Restored and in use as an Amtrak station, there are also 2 ACL artifacts here. The ACL 303 passenger car. Interesting that this car was built by Pullman in 1902 for the Rock Island, repossessed in 1905, and sold to the coastline in 1909, who used it for 35 years, refurbished it, and used it another 15 years. The star of the show at Rocky Mount is the Whopper Hopper, a truly gargantuan piece of rolling stock built by Pullman just for the ACL. 6-wheel trucks, all stainless steel body, built-in water spray washing system, this beast could haul 300,000 pounds. ACL and later SCL used it around Rocky Mount for most of its life. Now this one-of-a-kind sits on display as a museum piece. We spent the night in Richmond and scouted a few railroading spots. The Foreboding Richmond Station, a scary place where the railroads enter and exit on elevated tracks. It's always a thrill to see artifacts from the pre-CSX days. First one of these I've seen in a long time. Next morning, we're following the A-line from our hotel in South Richmond. A place I'd seen on the timetable for years and always wanted to visit was FA. Expecting places with 2-letter names to have some kind of activity and structure, like SY Tower or BS Crossing. But like so many places these days, there's nothing and no one at FA. Things livened up when this train arrived. It was Q409, Selkirk to Waycross, Georgia. It's interesting that I catch this train 800 miles from home. Once upon a time, 409 ran all the way to Tampa and carried Tropicana juice train empties before Q741 was created. My first and only shot on the RF&P was here at Ashland, Virginia. I'd hoped to catch a few commuter runs on this busy double-track main, but things were all quiet in Ashland, Virginia on this Wednesday morning. Into Pennsylvania we went, arriving at Horseshoe Curve, just in time to see an autorack train going around. Well, kinda see it. The trees have overgrown much of the view here. Our billet for the night would be the Station Inn, Cresson, Pennsylvania, 15 miles south and west of Horseshoe Curve. Tom and Sandy run a really nice railfan bed and breakfast. The front porch is a first-class seat for all the action on the NS between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. Cresson hosts an NS helper district, so there's plenty of action here around the clock. We only had one night at Cresson, but I will be back here. Back toward Altoona stand the Gullets and Tunnels. These bores go right under the town of Gullitson. At the western portal, the city has built a railfan park that rivals, dare I say it, yes, rivals Folkestone. This is a beautiful park and museum, several outdoor artifacts of the old Pennsylvania Railroad, and ample viewing angles. It cracked me up that they even cut holes in the pedestrian fence over the tracks. Rail fans can shoot still or video unimpeded by the chain link fence. At the foot of the bridge is recommended lodging in Gullets, the Tunnel Inn B&B. The Tunnel Inn has a back porch that offers a front row seat to all the double track action in and out of Gullets and Tunnel.
Still need the siding at work.
A quick visit to Altoona found us at North 6th Avenue and the famous Altoona shops. The turntable is only feet away from you here, though this morning there were lots of engines, no action on the turntable. Altoona is a spot that can't be rail-fanned in an hour or half day or even a full day. I'll be back here on a single-purpose vacation. In Part 2, we drive aboard Auto Train for our trip back south to Florida. This is Danny Harmon, out.